if you imagine like a night at somebody's or a dinner at somebody's home and they don't have candles, so that's definitely not gezellig. Or a meeting without coffee, like definitely not
Yeah, what,
gezellig.
what the hell is wrong with you? I would scream at them, honestly, if I were in this position, honestly. Welcome, everybody, to a new exciting episode of the Connected by Language podcast, your one-stop shop for everything travel, culture, and language related. I'm your host, Michele, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Michelle.
So, for the people that have been joining in for the first time, I think it would be very nice for us to kind of introduce ourselves, tell us what we're a little bit about, and where we're from.
Of course. So, my name is Michelle. I am from Germany. I speak German, English, French, and Spanish. And I work as a language education specialist at Tandem.
Oh, Tandem, what is it?
Tandem is a language exchange app where you can practice languages with people from all over the world, either in one on one chats or in audio rooms where you can practice in a group.
Oh, wow, that actually sounds very useful because I've been using it a little bit myself to learn Japanese. So much so that I'm ready to tackle on the exam later this year, at least at the time of the recording. So hopefully the tandem training, at least the people that I met on there are going to be very helpful for that. But I guess I can introduce myself. Hi, my name is Michele. I come from Italy. I speak Italian, French, English, and Japanese. And I'm sort of, let's just say, a nut when it comes to learning about different languages, learning about different cultures, and understanding what makes the world a little bit more unique. But I'm gonna be honest, Michelle, today I simply cannot find that idea to or what to talk about. We've been to so many different places in the world. I kind of need some help here.
Well, there is a neighboring country of Germany we haven't talked about yet. So I guess it's a good time to talk about it. It's
Okay.
the Netherlands.
Ooh, the Netherlands. Okay, yeah, I got you, I got you. I think I have something to talk about, but maybe you can, since you're introducing it to us, you can tell us a little bit more about what the Netherlands have to offer.
Absolutely. And it has definitely more to offer than just Amsterdam, which is known by most people.
Yes.
So let's start with Utrecht instead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is a little town where people actually cycle a lot. I mean, that happens in Amsterdam too.
Yeah, quite a lot there as well.
But you see a lot of people like in the morning cycling to class and then in the evening sitting at the canal with a craft beer. So you have kind of the mix of a lot of nice moments in Utrecht. And it's just 25 minutes from Amsterdam, actually.
Oh, that's very close.
Yeah. And it offers this really good balance between the Dutch charm and also like this youthful energy over there.
I see.
Yeah, and it has actually also become an extremely popular destination for students.
Yeah.
So, but also if you're not studying anymore, it's definitely worth it to visit.
I can attest for the language, for the student part of things, because some of my family members have been starting to do like study programs in Utrecht. So I kind of know how popular, especially for younger student is. But I did remember one activity that I think everybody should love getting there. Apparently in Utrecht, there is the tallest church tower in all of the Netherlands. And you have complete control to explore it and to climb this tower. This tower is called the Dome Tower. It's very big and it can give you a very nice panoramic views of the entire city. And I mean, it's a really tall tower, so if you're scared of heights, you could just relax to one of the cafes nearby and just admire the sheer grandiosity of this tower.
Okay, yeah, I think I would be more the person to actually canoe the canals in Utrecht. Yeah.
Oh, I love canals.
So that's also something you can do, like canoe the sunken canals that are like between the cellar cafes and lush greenery. So that must be really nice.
Oh man, yeah, and it almost makes it look like you're some sort of like in a fairy tale book. And if you're looking for that fairy tale feeling, I know the fantastic place for you. It's a museum actually. It is the Museum of the Spiel Clock, which this museum is very special. It's extremely special because it's a massive collection of instruments, but not just like normal musical instruments. No, sir, no. It is self-playing instruments.
What?
Yeah, they're all, you just enter in and there's like this massive collection of different, I think, ginormous construct that all play different types of music. You can find music boxes that sound like you're from a horror movie, or maybe you want something like a giant mechanical soundtrack for your own next visit. So you enter there and you feel like you're going to be in a Disney movie. Don't know which scene, depending on the instrument, but definitely it's going to be a magical experience nonetheless. But I'm gonna do I'm gonna vouch for this city because like we talked about things that are like old time, about old castles. But that doesn't mean that this city is not advanced, okay? Because actually there's a little bit of a fun fact. Not necessarily to Utrecht as a city, but kind of like a city that is attached to it. The city of Nieuwegein, that is a little city connected to Utrecht, is very, very small, is technically the birthplace of one of the most important technological advances of this century. Do you know which one is?
No, I have no idea.
Anything that you know about the Wi-Fi comes from this place. So, hey, don't underestimate the technological advance of the Netherlands, okay? It's not just typewriters and just canals, okay? There's technology in there if you find it, okay?
So it's pretty important. I mean, we are using Wi-Fi everywhere.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Nice. Okay. Well, there are some other towns too, not only Utrecht. So, for example, there's Giethoorn, which is like the village without roads. You can call it like
What do you
that.
mean without roads?
So there you have a lot of canals again, and you use them, the waterways, to move around. It's also nicknamed the Venice of the Netherlands.
Oh, now I recognize.
Yeah, or the Venice of the North, because
Yeah.
it's north of Italy, of course. And yeah, it just doesn't have roads. It's very tranquil. Like you have narrow walkways, and you have the canals to move there. And locals, they actually call the boats you use there whisper boats because they're quiet as whispers. And this is how you can move around.
Ah, that's so nice. Usually when, having a city without roads is very funny because all roads lead to Rome except for this place.
True, yeah.
But I do know one thing about this city now that you reminded me is for if I remember correctly, this town is so like there's not a lot of people in this town and it's so quiet that there's more ducks than people, which is so cute. That's why I know I love ducks to death. So and it's so funny because for what I remember, the even the postman has to use a boat to deliver mail. That's how like canal heavy this place is. And honestly, I just want to see the ducks. Honestly, I love ducks. So now I just want to go there just for that.
It's also not only for duck lovers, but for nature lovers, because Giethoorn shows also like how close the Dutch people are to nature. And it's kind of living in a postcard, actually, of this old world sustainability and the slow living.
Oh man, I could do some slow livings these days. And if you want a place that kind of also has a more interesting look into the cultural aspect of the Netherlands, I do have a little town for you that you can explore. It's called Straphorst. And Straphorst is interesting because it's a rural town, so it's very small. Not a lot of people live there, but it's one of the few last places in the world where you can find people wearing actual traditional Dutch clothing. And you might think, oh, I'm just going to go there and grab one for myself. No, do not. It is not for you. It's for the locals, okay? It is not for tourists. Do not try to get yourself a piece of clothing. So be warned. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry if I speak.
No, it's fine. I was just a bit surprised by this.
Yeah. If you want to know more about what type of clothing is the actual traditional Dutch clothing, they are referred as klederdracht, I think. I hope that I pronounced it correctly. But I have a challenge for you. What do you think this word means in Dutch?
Actually, it sounds a bit similar to German, which would be Kleidertracht. So I guess just a very traditional clothes.
Yeah, it just means that. It just means traditional clothes. Yeah, I thought I was gonna get you with that one. No. So yeah, it's the word for traditional clothes. And this one that comes specifically from Straphorst as a specific pattern, which is a dark pattern on black fabric, which is also known as the stipwerk. So again, I hope I pronounced it correctly because I do not know. Sorry for all Dutch speakers out there. My Dutch is not the best. out here.
Well, we're both not Dutch speakers, so we try our best here.
Yes, of course. That's the beauty of learning languages, after all, you know?
Absolutely. I have a little quirky fact about this town too.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, which is that actually on Sundays, the playgrounds are like the playground swings are all chained up. So
What? Why?
so it's more quiet.
Oh,
It's important
God.
that on Sunday, like streets and places are quiet.
Okay, that's...
To preserve also the religious peace. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but come on, a little bit too much, okay? Like,
And
what
there's one more.
Oh, there's one more thing.
Yeah, there's one more thing, and that might be even hard for you, or especially hard for you as an Italian.
Uh-oh.
Also, the ice cream parlors are completely closed on Sundays.
Oh, no. What am I supposed to do on Sunday? What is anybody supposed to do? Come on, man. My man. But, you know, there's a very good reason for this. Like, this is probably one of the few towns in probably the entirety of Europe that still retains that Reformed Christian traditions that a little bit has been lost to time, and with the, and with towns getting more and more advanced. But, I have to admit, even with all these limitations, there has to be some sort of like Christian pride going on here. And I think being able to sustain such intensive rules might give a lot of satisfaction as a society as a whole, honestly. So I commend to that. I think it's a little bit too much, but I commend a little bit of that.
Well, there is one more thing that Dutch people or the Netherlands commemorate, which is the king. So they have the King's Day, which is celebrated every April 27th.
See.
And it actually, like I said, it commemorates the birthday of King Willem Alexander. But honestly, it's also kind of an excuse to dress like a tangerine.
Wait, what do you mean you dress up like a tangerine? You better explain yourself here.
Yeah, I mean, tangerines are orange, and everybody kind of dresses up in orange. It's the national color.
Okay, now I get it.
You might have seen it in football matches, actually. Like,
I don't
usually.
really follow that much football, but next time that I'll see a Dutch match, I'll look for it. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, they're usually dressed in orange, and this is what happens on King's Day too. So the whole streets are dressed up in orange, and yeah, you can like dance everywhere. There are even boats where you can dance on. I mean, of course, there's a lot of waterways, so dancing on boats, and open air flea markets seems to be a thing on that day too.
I know about the flea markets actually, because like for what I've remembered, like apparently during this time of year, the Netherlands becomes the biggest garage sale in the world, and it gets so massive that like the government has to suspend business licenses to let anybody sell whatever they want from the street. So you're not gonna get in trouble if you're a kid selling like a vase off the street. You're good. You're good. No license required for this day only. So yeah, have at it. So.
Oh, actually, good to know. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to find some interesting memorabilia from real Dutch households, this is the best time to do it for sure.
yeah. And there's one more thing to this holiday. It reflects the Dutch spirit of the alligatorism and the self-expression. So even royalty is celebrated with beer and not with pomp.
Okay. That's pretty nice. It's interesting to see like such a holiday be use a different type of respect. Usually think of regal places and like being. We talked about languages that have such different ways into like talking to superiors or to elders, and so it's very refreshing to see some places that has a very, I guess you could call it equal playing field. But speaking of holidays, now we'll talk about the king. But you cannot have any sort of Christian holiday or Dutch holiday without talking about the Christmas time. Well, technically, the Netherlands have their own, I guess, Christmas time tradition. It's not on Christmas. It's a lot earlier. It's like, I think it's December 5th. But Sinterklaasavond, which is the St. Nicholas Eve, is a very interesting time of year because it's kind of like Santa Claus, but weirder.
Okay, in which way?
So basically, the story goes that Sinterklaas arrives by boat, first of all, by boat, not any reindeers or any global South Pole or whatever.
Through the chimney.
Not chimney with this one guy. This guy arrives with a boat from Spain.
Okay.
Okay, from Spain. And he has this little helpers, the Pietan, he has this little helpers helping out. And, your normal Christmas, you have the milk and cookies.
Mhm.
Well, in the Netherlands, it's a little bit different. You do leave candy, and shoes.
Oh, well, that's quite similar to Germany.
Really? You do that?
I'm not so surprised.
Really?
Yes.
You do that?
Yeah, it's Nikolaus in this case, and he also leaves candies in shoes.
Oh my God, I did not know that. I thought that it was kind of crazy because in Italy, you don't do that at all.
Yeah.
But not only that, there's only one extra element that you leave. When you receive gifts or give gifts, you also have to use a little bit of poetry, creating short rhymes to kind of like, roast your friends or roast the people that giving you the gifts. So you have to get your language skills up if you want to experience this time of year,
Yeah, I mean, there's still some time till the 5th of December, so
That's a lot of time,
anybody who wants to get candies around that time in the Netherlands,
yeah.
they can practice. There's actually also a little, I wouldn't want to call it fun fact because it's kind of more dark, on the dark side. So historically, naughty kids were actually told they'd be stuffed in a sack
Oh God.
and taken back to Spain,
Uh,
where Sinterklaas comes from,
yeah.
which sounds a bit more like kidnapping than actually Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it sounds like it to me. That is kidnapping in a way or another. It's interesting because this time of year, it is definitely, despite being connected to Santa Claus, it's a lot less commercialized than Christmas. So, and it's a very good way to people to express themselves, like we said before, self-expression. Unlike the King's holiday with with clothing and selling stuff, it's about poetry. So if when I talk about elaborate rhyming schemes for these gifts, I'm talking elaborate rhyming schemes, okay? These are not basic rhymes. No, 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 no. You gotta get your A game on. So if you want to self-express with words, this is the best time to do it.
Nice. Okay. There's some more holiday traditions we can talk about a bit. For example, the New Year's dive. Have you heard of it?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Actually, yeah. So thousands of Dutch start their year by diving or jumping into the cold North Sea.
Oh my God, why?
Yeah, actually, probably because they want to celebrate the new beginning. So they just wear this swimsuit and beanies, so their heads don't get cold, I guess.
I mean, that would help for sure, yes.
I mean, yeah, I think the head is the part where you lose most of your warmth, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
At least you have something,
Yeah.
But, we talk about the cold, but there's also some other minor traditions that going on during the Easter region. You can't have a Christian region without Easter. And I'm not going to go too much in depth on the Easter traditions of Dutch, but there is one food that I thought was extremely unique. I don't know if Germany has it now that there's so many similarities, apparently. It's called the Aardbal in Groningen.
Ooh, I wouldn't recognize that word, so tell me more about it.
So around Easter time, people, especially in the north, this is a very northern thing, they take whole eggs and they deep fry it in wrapping them in like a meat and potato coating. So it's like this almost like crispy golden ball that you eat. And in some regions, this is a delicacy. But as I said, this is a very northern thing because if you go to other region, they would find it bizarre as well. So, that's if you're looking for very unique food, that's a good one,
Okay, I don't find it bizarre, but I also don't know it, so there's nothing similar in
I
Germany.
don't know. I wouldn't have any like that in my Italian household. I'm gonna be very honest with you. So maybe it's bizarre for me. Maybe I'm part of these regions that find deep fried eggs with meat very bizarre. But actually, now that I think about it, it's not that bad. Actually.
I would definitely try it out.
Yeah.
So, quite interesting is that also Dutch traditions are very, very local. They're hyper local, reflecting also the countries like strong regional identities.
Yeah.
So what's normal in Friesland, for example, might be considered outrageous in
Yeah,
Rotterdam.
exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
so it's quite usual
Mhm.
in the Netherlands to have very different traditions in different regions. Yeah.
Yeah, and despite this many changes like between regions when it comes to tradition, there are some elements that unite all of this region in a more, I guess, cultural level or like mentality. It's kind of like if you ever talk about what the average, at least from outside, the average Dutch person is, or the average what is the Dutch culture known for? That's the better way to put it, would be their pragmatism, specifically like being frank with communications and being very interested in keeping things in order. One thing that is very interesting is that despite the fact that the tradition between each region is very different, there are some certain elements that unite these people in the same ballpark. And it's more about their cultural and their like approach to life. Because if you were to describe the Dutch culture, it would be a very like strong sense for pragmatism, being very frank with your communications, and also having a very deep sense of order. That's a very big part here, sense of order. In fact, like this idea of being frank and orderly kind of culminates into a concept that not a lot of countries, in my opinion, share, which is the concept of doe normal, which I think if you know any Latin languages, you can kind of guess what that means.
Yeah, that you act normally.
Exactly. Act normal. That you think that it's very like easy to understand or like very straightforward, but it's not as like common in a lot of different places. It's kind of like think about if you're flaunting wealth or like being overly emotional, those are not as preferred in the day-to-day life. Being understated, it's a lot more known in this Dutch culture. So when you're talking to someone from those regions, those are the elements that you should look out for.
Actually, now that you mention it, I just wonder if you tell somebody else, for example, in Italy, act normal,
Yeah,
then that would be a different normal. I mean,
Yeah,
what does
exactly.
normal mean? But yeah.
Yeah, like normal maybe in a place like Italy would be, very open
Yeah.
about what you're talking about. That's the normal you. I don't have to, I don't say fake anything, but at the same time, it's like very open ended. So when you're talking to somebody in Italian, you're very open, you're very loud.
Yeah,
And that's the normal side. While in the Netherlands, this is completely far from the truth for sure.
definitely. I mean, also they are quite rule following, I guess very similar to Germans. And for example, if you ignore a bike lane, well, you will be judged by 100 people around you. So you
Yeah.
better kind of follow the rules there too.
Yeah, and I mean there is a good reason why these sort of like minute rules exist because there is a little bit of this is a little bit of a mini tangent, but there's a little bit of a issue, I guess, with a lot of the Netherlands because it is mega flat. The Netherlands is flat. You're not gonna get a lot of mountains out of them. And whenever things are flat, winds becomes a massive problem. So the interesting thing is that there's so many different rules when it comes to lanes and the way the buildings are made because Dutch architects have to design neighborhoods with turbulent wind in mind. So maybe there's a good reason why you should follow the rules in the urban setting things at least.
Yeah, sounds like it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, it does. Like I don't know much about it because I haven't really visited the Netherlands for that long, but you definitely feel things like the wind. So I would definitely, at least I agree with them on that department.
Well, there's also something more to the Netherlands in their culture, and they have kind of a soul word, like a Dutch soul word, which is gezelligheid.
I see.
Yeah, so it's somewhere in between cozy, sociable, warm, emotionally fulfilling. So it's not just about the vibe, but gezellig places or moments also reflect connection and comfort, whether it's a candlelit cafe or a board game night at home. So all of those can be gezellig. And it's also quite interesting because if you imagine like a night at somebody's or a dinner at somebody's home and they don't have candles, so that's definitely not gezellig.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I agree with
Yeah.
you.
Or a meeting without coffee. Like people do not offer you coffee at work,
Oh
then
God.
it's definitely not gezellig.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I mean, probably you as an Italian would say, no, that's
Yeah.
not gezellig.
Yeah, no, it's I would scream at them, honestly, if I were in this position, honestly. But that's just me. That's not representative of everybody.
Yeah, I don't know if they scream if there's no Gezelligheit, but I guess
I wouldn't
it's
say
just
so. Knowing what we've learned so far, I don't think so.
probably not. And for those of you who maybe know the Danish hygge, this is kind of more a collective feeling than an individual calm, so it's slightly different. It's more like group coziness when we're
Okay,
talking
it's like
about
a more
Gezelligkeit.
okay, so it's more as a group feeling.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like a one-on-one. Okay.
Exactly. So hygge, you can feel it at home alone, but then Gezelligheid also has this kind of part of the word, which means that there are several people involved.
Yeah, and when you're going to be in a group with people from the Netherlands or even talking one-on-one to them, there are some elements that, in general, at least, they value a lot more than others. And so in some cultures, it may be a little bit different for sure. The social fabric of the Netherlands, at least for what I managed to get from testimonials on Reddit and other like places. So unfortunate, I cannot speak for everybody. Is that there's a lot of big emphasis on equality and being very direct in what the intentions and like relationships are. But at the same time, having a very nice trust of community, so like a group coziness. You're also trusting all the people around it, and that kind of creates the coziness. And it's interesting because in the way that this turns out in the day-to-day life is very crazy because this equality kind of has an interesting ramification because you would probably find a lot of kids going to their teachers and call them by their first name.
Hmm.
It-
I see. Yeah.
What? What the hell?
I mean, for me, it would depend a bit on the age
Of
of the children, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but in a lot of different countries, this is completely out of the question.
Yeah.
In countries that use entire like suffixes to determine the status of someone, the calling them by your first name is insane. And imagine, like for example, there has been stories of CEOs of massive companies just hanging out and standing like going on adventures and standing next to the interns on a regular basis. Which, if you work in a lot of different companies, this of course depends from company to company, but that sometimes doesn't even happen all that much, and that directness into both equality and action is kind of expected at this point. Like it's one of the first things that people talk about when they talk about the Netherlands. But it's direct, it is blunt, but it kind of teaches us a very interesting lesson about the importance of transparency and respect. Because sometimes you have to be transparent. You don't want to code things with a bunch of layers or a bunch of different suffixes. Sometimes being direct is the best way to get. Can I curse on this show? I mean, it's my own show. I can do whatever I want. To get shit done.
Okay.
So yeah, in overall, if I had to say, Dutch culture and Dutch values is a very interesting balance of emotional modesty and practical living, which is like, you know, it's created, it's on a basis of, and that's the best way to put it, is the basis on honest conversation and a very known and shared social code that everybody abides by. But if I want to be very direct with somebody, if I want to have one-on-one conversation with people, do I really need to learn the Dutch language? I think so, but I don't know about you.
Good question. I mean, I heard that you get around a lot with English too, but I think it would definitely help to know the language that the people are speaking.
Yeah, and I wonder how difficult or easy it would be for somebody coming in for the first time to learn the language and appreciate all of the elements that make this language so interesting. So I think it's about time that we ask somebody that has been going through the exact same adventure. So welcome to the show, Maryna. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. We heard that you're having your own little adventure into specifically Amsterdam, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I live very close to Amsterdam, so it's can go there anytime I can. But yes.
Okay, that's interesting because maybe for the people that are listening in, you could give out a little bit of like tell us a little bit about yourself and your personal journey and what you're all about.
Okay. Sure. Yes, I'm Maryna. I'm from Germany. I've been living in the Netherlands for about a year now. I'm all about languages. So yeah, speak English, German, Dutch, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, U- Ukrainian, Russian, and a bit of French.
Wow. Wow. Very impressive.
And yes, I visited Amsterdam about 2 years ago. I don't even remember now, and I decided to move there because I was so impressed by its beauty, and I learned some Dutch, and I also really like the language. And it was kind of a time to change
Yeah.
before you change. So yes, that's what I did, and yeah, I moved to the little town called Zandam, which is, if you look at the map, you can think it's a part of Amsterdam,
Okay, so it's
basically.
very, very
Yes.
fancy. Okay.
Yeah.
And you've lived there for a while now in the Netherlands. So what would you say? How is like the social life compared to other places you have lived so far?
Yeah, it's a good question because I mostly know only Berlin, which is a big city. Yes, it's international. It's a very special city for me and also like in Germany, I think. So it's very hard to compare like small city like Zandam and Berlin, but also comparing like even Amsterdam and Berlin, also difficult because it's just so small. I don't know. It's like I didn't have a big cultural shock when I moved here because, like you talked about, the German and Dutch mentality are also quite similar, like with the order and rules and all kind of stuff. You don't experience the like big culture shock, and the language you can read even if you don't speak any Dutch. Like as a German, you can read signs, you can read the menu, so it's also fine, but it was like more like topographical shock for me. Like you said, that you can be in Utrecht in 20 minutes, and I spent 40 minutes in Berlin, sometimes every day, only one way. So this was more like a shock for me, like how close everything is.
Mm. Okay, that's interesting.
Was it a positive shock?
Yes, I think I had I had enough maybe like this time spent on a train. Also, yeah, but also you should bear in mind that it's not like Berlin has a very good transportation system. Let's be honest, and it's not here. It's like the whole country. You're speaking about the whole country, so it's also pretty good comparing to other countries in Europe. So it's kind of one of the best, also one of the most expensive ones. But it's quite good. So it's more like more good surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you're going to be in the Netherlands for quite a while, you're gonna get starting to know the culture. So the question becomes like the big star of the scene is about the Dutch language. Because a lot of people,
Yes.
right, a lot of interest in learning it. A lot of people have a lot of questions about it, including myself. So, like, how did you like when you decided to go to Amsterdam? How did you start learning the language of Dutch?
I when I went here for the first time, I already spoke some Dutch.
Okay.
So yes, I didn't start here, and of course, when I decided to move, I already spoke some Dutch.
Mhm.
And yeah, I started it with like classic, how you usually learn a language. I just
Nice.
found a good textbook with dialogues,
Uh-huh.
audio, and exercises and grammar explanations. And yeah, it's a good, great sort of a big question, especially in Amsterdam, because there are so many people who basically don't care about learning the language. There are a lot of people who would like to learn the language, would like to speak the language, but don't have an opportunity.
Hmm, okay.
So this is like a very becomes like very big, yeah, big issue. Like I have friends I have in Amsterdam. They're all expats. Well, actually, basic, not all of them, but mostly. And that's what I see all the time. Like the language we always speak is English, and I don't know it from Berlin because I had also international friends. Like I spoke Spanish with my Spanish friends, spoke Italian with Italian friends. But when we were together, we're like group of people. The lingua franca, our language, was German, and I don't know what the reason is. Maybe it's like the newer generation of people who moving. I don't know.
I get
Just
that.
also kind of strange. Mm,
It
yeah.
is strange being in almost like a capital of a country and not being able to speak that own language. It's insane to think about, honestly.
Yes, there's also like even like little videos on Instagram or whatever, like in like Dutch from Dutch creators who like say you can speak Dutch in the Netherlands, and they film people who don't understand. If you like want to order a beer, there are like specific words for beer, for small beer, bigger beer, and people just don't know what it is.
Oh, really? That's insane. But I think maybe one of the reasons why people don't, speak Dutch as much is rather because, at least when you're trying to approach it, like, let's be honest, like the pronunciation of it sounds pretty tricky and kind of unique.
Yeah,
So
it is.
this is for most people. I don't know if it was for you, but like what aspects of the language before coming to Amsterdam or after coming to Amsterdam, were the trickiest for you?
Pronunciation was the
Oh,
first one.
okay.
Yes.
Confirmed, I guess.
The yeah, the also the understanding, because as a German you like you read it and you think, oh, I will be able to understand more English pretty quickly, but just pronunciation and yeah, exactly, because pronunciation is quite tricky. The understanding is also, yeah, it's also difficult to understand people, and they're also like you said, there are like a lot of regions, a lot of different also cultures inside the Netherlands. So a lot of people have their own dialect or their like art of speaking,
Yeah.
pronouncing the words, and yeah, and the word order. Because maybe I'm always referring to German, and it's all very often different, a little bit different. There's some things that you don't expect. So maybe this two, three things
How
almost.
different is this word order? Like
Yeah, you probably know about the verbs, like the infinitives at the end, like das muss gemacht werden. So it's like you put all the infant in the end, and in Dutch is the same, but the order of this infinitive is different.
okay. So it's like
Yeah,
slight changes, but it's kind of like
exactly.
tricky.
Slight change. Maybe that's why they're also difficult, because we're used to that. It's so normal, but now it's different.
Maybe someone that doesn't like at all have the same structure can find it easier because they don't have to think about their original. Like if they know German, they don't have to make those changes. But if you like don't know German at all, like learning the structure, you don't have any frame of reference. So maybe it can be
Yes,
easier for someone that doesn't know German
yes,
to learn that, which is
sure.
crazy.
This expert for sure. Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know about y'all. To me, that sounds crazy.
What resources or methods did you find most helpful to help you learn the language?
No, to put shortly, I think the most important thing is to find a balance between studying and immersion, or like fun, if you want to say. And yeah, depends on the language, of course. Also, like if you want it or not. Yeah, like I have an advantage. I always say it. I always say to people, they like, oh, you speak Dutch so good, but so well. But yeah, sadly, well, I had an advantage and also studied a lot. I'm still studying Dutch, but
Okay.
of course,
So like the classical method of studying still works in your opinion. Because a lot of people,
yes, I think
yeah.
it will. It will work always, but we can also like use the advantages of the internet and all the resources. We have the podcasts, and there are actually a lot of resources for now for learning Dutch because there's a lot of people coming live here. So yeah, just the book. Like I said, I started with the book, and I could use podcasts and other materials pretty early, as I said, because I had this advantage with German. If I would learn Greek or Turkish, I would probably spend a lot of time like with with grammar books.
I see. I mean, you
Yeah,
can
so
also,
this is
if you're interested
yeah.
at learning like Turkish or Greek, you could also talk to somebody that natively directly on somewhere like Tandem, you know? That's an option.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is also an option that's when yeah, but I think that's just like Dutch and French you can use now and uh, it's take me a while to learn. Good as with Greek, of course. Yeah,
The key is to be dedicated, to put like
exactly.
consistency, and that gets rewarded, especially if you're doing your traditional method of doing exercises, because like it still can really be helpful. It may not give you that confidence to talk to people that are like natives, but it's still an amazing resource to learn the
Yeah.
basics vocabulary. So when a lot of people are starting to not credit it as much as being helpful when learning languages, don't discredit it completely because it's still there's a lot of advantages in using traditional methods.
Definitely. Also, by like combining them with new methods and, like you said, like apps like Tandem and other apps, like you can visit them like a stepping stone for before studying speak Dutch, for example, because I live here, I can do it every day. But if somebody lives in another country, it's a great way to also approach the language before like approach like people in life. So like it's sometimes maybe a bit discouraging, if you don't understand everything.
Yeah.
And talking about speaking to natives, actually, what was a moment where you felt like you really lived in Dutch? Like, was it a successful conversation you had, or even maybe a funny mistake or misunderstanding? Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Oh, I had some mistakes I've been, but I don't really know right now. Yeah, like I said, I started speaking Dutch from the day one when I moved. I think when I had to call the dentist,
That's one of the
I was
hardest
just
ones by far. In any language, always calling somebody on the phone and being precise with simple
yes,
stuff. That's that I pray
yeah,
for you, honestly. I'm
asking
yeah.
asking for employment, and it's like yeah, like you said, it's in any language. It's like I don't know, it's a bit, it's a adult task, and like sometimes it's daunting. Yeah, so I just like I pick up the phone and I just started speaking Dutch, and yeah,
So
it was
now are you
okay.
confident in being able to book these appointments or like
Yes. Yes, I would say so. Yes.
I am so envious right now because I speak like French for like 3 years now and I still don't have the courage to call somebody on the phone. I envy you quite a bit. So, like, because one thing that you mentioned, but I kind of want to know a little bit more about is that you mentioned that like people don't speak that much, like Dutch or as much as
Mhm.
like, but like how important on a whole, has Dutch actually been to integrate into the day-to-day life? Like, do you think that you would completely survive without Dutch?
Um, yeah, it's very important. Yeah, it's very important, but you also can survive without it.
Yeah.
So it's
So,
exactly. So depends what you want. Do you only want to survive, or do you want to be the part of the country, the part of the culture? And yes, of course, a lot of people speak Dutch in Amsterdam, anywhere. Like you go to the cafe, even there's like the chance, like I said, the chance they speak Dutch. Don't speak Dutch. They speak English, but it's not. Also, a lot of yeah, like, you can go buy with like buying a beer, like ordering something in English, but a lot of people will speak the Dutch and ask you question, like answer your questions, but not that many people speak it well because it's still
okay.
if maybe like of course you see like a young Dutch at the bar in Amsterdam. Of course, a lot of them have even like British accents that sometimes they don't. I wasn't sure. Oh, are they really Dutch? They're from England. but of course, it's only like small amount of people, small percentage of people. Usually, people speak Dutch, and you hear the accent. Sometimes you see that they're struggling. Sometimes they don't speak it just well. Then like they make grammar mistakes, and it's yeah. And without speaking Dutch, you probably don't really realize it. So and for culture, like to be the part of be like to know the culture, to get to know the culture. Of course, I think it's very important. And people are always like almost always glad to speak Dutch. Really.
A Dutch person with a British accent, like Dutch with a British accent, that sounds very, very interesting.
It sounds yeah, I think Amsterdam.
Yeah. Okay.
I think. Not sure.
Has speaking Dutch ever changed how Dutch people treat you compared to when you spoke to them in English or German?
Dutch people, I think so. Yes, I'm pretty sure they're like very. First, they're surprised that they've been living here for a year because they know. I like know so many people that lived living for 6 years from Dublin and then barely speak any Dutch. So maybe they know this experience. They met other foreigners as well, but they don't want to speak Dutch. And just people are very. They're more interested. They're like appreciating it. A lot of them appreciating them. Yeah, I think yeah, of course, there's a difference because I never actually tried to speak English to them, so I can't really compare. Yeah, but I definitely felt very like welcome.
Nice.
Speaking Dutch, yeah.
That's nice to hear. But now I have a little bit of a question for you. So let's just say, let's do an hypothetical. Let's say that I am now coming to you and say, hey, I need to move to Amsterdam now, but I need to Dutch fast. Like if someone wanted to start Dutch, like I am doing right now to you, what would be like one piece of advice to get me started or something? Like what would you tell them? Sorry for the rush. It's like that.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Sorry.
Fast.
Just a little bit of theatrics, sorry.
Yeah. Maybe prepare to be disappointed actually because
Why?
um I would say listen and read, like use materials when you can read and listen at the same time. And
Is there like a specific resource that was particularly helpful? Because you mentioned like things like podcasts and content creators, but maybe like
yes,
someone specific that you think is been doing a better.
there is a podcast. It's called "Een beetje Nederlands," a little bit of Dutch. So this is probably you can just listen them like a lot of times.
Can you please
You're like
repeat the name? Can you please repeat the name? I couldn't quite understand it.
een beetje Nederlands. It's like een beetje. German.
A bit of Netherlands.
A bit of Dutch.
Yeah.
Of Dutch.
I will
Yeah, this one.
think for people that are interested in listening to it.
So this one, yeah, I think, yeah, if you like read, I remember like the first time I said just learn Italian, I would just videos, also on YouTube, just like many times, and then I like read the subtitles and I listened to them, and then I still have like sentences in my head. So probably this is it. It's not, yeah,
Hey, that's
it's not easy, but it's probably the fastest way.
not don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be easy. In my hypothetical, I already know that I'm gonna be in an uphill battle, but there's a lot of resources, so that's very nice because not a lot of languages get that many
Yeah.
resources at all. Sometimes we had stories of people having to start YouTube channels because uh,
Mhm.
they needed that sort of they needed basically to teach themselves. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's very nice that there's a lot of resources.
Yeah, nowadays there are definitely like enough resources and also not too many, so you can really sometimes you have like this choice, a lot of choice. I can even choose. So yes,
Okay, so there's
this is a good amount of language.
okay, so it's not too many.
Yes,
But I get 'em.
not too many.
That's that's nice. Honestly, it's a very refreshing feeling.
Let's talk about your work now because you worked in a Dutch company with local colleagues. And yeah, how would you describe the Dutch workplace culture also compared to your experience in Germany?
Yeah, I've been working only in this one company, so I'm not sure if it represents like the old Dutch company like culture. But what I can say, it's faster. It's more dynamic. It's more like, okay, let's do this, and less meetings, not more like, yes, less discussing, more like doing. And also like in the Netherlands, also like everywhere, I think most of companies, the time when you can like resign is 1 month. So it's also like quick. You can quick
Very dynamic.
change the job.
Mhm.
That's almost
So
kind of similar to the United States in a way. Like you could just change job whenever you kind of want. Oh, first, it's not completely. It's completely different to what culture.
no, no, no.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Maybe
very
it's
yes.
too far. Sorry. Sorry. It's all right. Okay, that's interesting because like if someone wanted to, let's return to my hypothetical need to go to Amsterdam right now. Like, what advice would you give if someone wanted to try and enter a Dutch workplace for the first time? Like, what advice would you give them?
Learn Dutch.
Learn Dutch. Okay, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that,
it's a big advantage, really.
okay. So
Yes,
jobs
like
do require knowing Dutch. If that's
um, some yeah, a lot of them don't not do does not do not require Dutch, but I think it would be a good big plus because if you like see the job listings and you see how like and make like you should see how many people apply. So of course, more people who don't speak Dutch will apply for the jobs. So like yeah, it's more people applying for these jobs, and this is of course always a advantage. I think also a sign like oh you like really want to live there. You wouldn't probably you made an effort to learn some the language, so you really want to live there. You want to work there, so this. And yeah, also be prepared maybe that people are director than you used to be.
we had a
Yes, which
story.
doesn't mean they're rude or something.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had a story of a friend of ours from Mexico that
Oh.
was entered in I think it was a French company, but he had a Dutch manager. And in Mexico, in Latin American countries, it's not like that at all. Places usually you sugarcoat most of your negative comments with compliments, or you're not as direct.
Mm.
So whenever they got the direct feedback, which for a lot of Europeans it would be very normal, for them
Yeah.
a big culture shock, a massive culture shock, which is incredible to see because I thought that their feedback was not that direct at all, and
Okay.
well, it's very close to Dutch, but no, for other continents, this is a big deal, like a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, that's true. This is yeah crazy to think about it because yeah, I heard it also about yeah Indian co-workers. They like also don't communicate directly in my previous job. So
yeah. Every place has a very
wow.
unique culture. Of course, it depends from culture to culture and from company to company, of course. But there are some elements that make each country unique, and I think that's fantastic. It's a very wonderful thing to know a lot about how the world operates from country to country. That's the entire
Yeah.
podcast. I mean, like, also,
And talking about places, now you mentioned it, different places in the Netherlands. So a lot of people mainly think of Amsterdam when they like try to think about visiting the Netherlands. What do you think they miss by not exploring other parts of the country?
I'll be honest. My Amsterdam is still my favorite city, and I moved here because of it. And yeah, this is a lot of things to do here, and it's also worth visiting. Maybe avoid like more busy times of the year, like now than August. There are so many tourists here, but people missing like the nature because there's a lot of like nice nature, like uh, beaches and yeah, okay, so no mountains, but still different kind of nature.
like beach.
And
You have beaches in the middle? Like I didn't.
yes, I mean it's all sea everywhere, so like
Yeah, now they like
it's more
a
like
lot of sense. Sorry, I apologize.
yeah,
A lot of sense. It's just
yeah, exactly.
Dutch beaches. Maybe because I'm Italian and we're beaches are kind of like a thing that will get
Yeah,
tied up.
they're different. They're different beaches. They're like dunes and yeah, talking about like the place, which is not recommended. Also, like people that like also people say, oh, don't go to Amsterdam, go to Utrecht, go to Haarlem, which are not nice cities, but I don't think you should compare them to Amsterdam. Amsterdam is Amsterdam, and they Utrecht is also special itself. I would recommend to go to Zuiderzee Museum, which is in the north of the Netherlands, not far from Amsterdam as well. It's very easy to reach, and it's tells about the history of that region because Zuiderzee is like South Sea in Dutch. It used to be the Bay of Northern Sea, but they kind of closed it up from the Northern Sea now to the part of the lake. Asmar is that place? I forgot the name. And
I put it up on
the land,
they wanna.
the
No, no, continue.
yeah, and the land that they won, it became the province of the newest province of the Netherlands.
Oh.
So and yeah, this museum is like it's open air museum, and they just took the houses, which are like very nice. They literally took the houses and brought them to this one place. Sometimes they had to like rebuild them, but it's not like the replicas; it's actual houses
That's
from that region, and it tells a lot about the history, the traditions, about like the people there, and it's definitely worth with it. It's like a lot of concentrated Dutchness there.
oh, that's
Yeah.
great. I like that. But like speaking about concentrated Dutchness, is there like maybe a tradition or like some sort of ritual that particularly grabbed your attention while, you know, being in Amsterdam and you kind of like took it on yourself? I don't know if I explain it correctly. But
Not particularly. The only thing I think about now, it's also like again coming back to talking about different regions in Netherlands, like here in the north, in Amsterdam and like north or where I live. It's very common for people to like if they're friends or like you like meeting friends or like you're just talking to people they're nice in the bar, buy around bounce. I'm like, okay, it's online. It's a me, just buy it. And like I think it's like it's nice, even because it's like in the south I heard it's different.
I see.
And it wasn't that common in Germany, as far as I remember, but yeah.
Oh, okay. That's That's pretty interesting, like the differences. But I think we're kind of coming close to the
Yes.
ending of the program. So we have one last question for you, Michelle. Maybe you can give it away.
Yeah, so if there was one thing that people should remember about the Netherlands, what would it be?
For the Netherlands, I think to remember how beautiful, like it's so beautiful, the cities, and you just like remember the like to maybe the appreciate the moment and see the beauty like in everyday life.
Oh, that's very nice. You know, like a lot of we've been through a lot of places where they have this grandiose, like amazing structures, big churches, big open areas of nature. But you know, sometimes the mundane and the day-to-day life, that's when it's on.
Yeah, yeah, and be like glad what you have. Like if you like ask like most of them, like what I noticed in the beginning, even like while learning Dutch with videos, I like notice the people are usually very content with their country. If you ask a Dutch person, "Oh, is it a good country?" They would say definitely. Of course, they can complain, and of course, there's also room for improvement. But it's a good country. Like almost everyone would agree. I think this is also the thing we can remember or keep in mind.
And that I think that's a great way to end the episode. Thank you so much for joining into the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was very nice. It was fun.
If that's what we do. If you have a project or a social or something that you want to shout out, this is the perfect time to do it. Otherwise, it's fine. You don't have to do it, but if you have one, this is the perfect time to.
Yeah, I have like like my Instagram account. It's called Metamorphinia, and I just share some stories from the Dutch, from Dutch travels, Dutch life.
And I mean, if people who are very interested in learning how to live life in the Netherlands and what to expect, I think this would be a fantastic way to get a little bit of the whip of that Dutch life. So,
Yeah, I hope so.
yeah. And with that, thank you all so much for joining this episode of the Connected by Language podcast. If you like the video, please like it. If you want to see more, please subscribe or follow, depending on the platform that you are. Have you ever been into Amsterdam? I don't know. I'm not you. So if you want to share about your life, but not about your life, about your life in Amsterdam or somewhere around the world, you can leave us a comment below. And I mean, thank you again so much for watching. I've been your host, Michele, and I've been joined by my co-host,
Michelle.
and I guess we'll see you in the next episode, don't you think?
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.